No, Cole, you went from talking so much to not talking at all. And now I don't know what to do.
I've got too much to do over here.
Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going.
All right, everyone. So welcome to Scicomm Monday. We're having a good time because there's been so much fun with everything going on with internet not working to about a gazillion other things. For those of you who are new to Scicomm Monday, we try to make this as engaging a platform as possible. So please feel free to submit your questions via the integrated chat module on Periscope. Or if you're watching this on replay later, definitely feel free to submit your questions via Twitter for various handles. So you can reach me either at the Scicomm Monday or at my personal handle of Wildlife BioGal. And then you can reach today's guest at his handle of at Dustin Growick. And so we're going to talk to Dustin today about all of his work with museums and dinosaurs and all the Scicomm fun that he has on Instagram and YouTube and everywhere else, it seems like. So with that, I'd love to bring Dustin onto the broadcast. Thanks for being here with us today, Dustin.
I'm incredibly excited. Anytime I get a chance to talk to lots of people about dinosaurs, it's a good day.
I'm excited too, because I mean, the work that you're doing is so amazing. Like everything I've been seeing and looking at, like on your Instagram channel and your YouTube channel, I'm always finding myself laughing and having just so much fun along with you that it's just like, it's so refreshing to have Scicomm that really truly is almost like a form of entertainment. You're learning, but you're also having that entertaining aspect to it, and it makes it that much more memorable, I believe. So at least for me, it does. Thank you.
No, I mean, I think a lot, like, if I'm someone who doesn't really care about this, like, I'm going to be hooked by something that's, like, funny and stupid and entertaining first. I think a lot of times we forget that, like, people consume media in general first to be, like, entertained. So if you're trying to get more people excited, you got to start there. And, like, if we're not having fun while we're doing this, why are we doing any of this?
Exactly. I mean, even when everything was going wrong before the broadcast, where I literally could not get the internet to come up to be able to do the broadcast as we were like counting down the minutes before we were supposed to go live. It's like, you know what? Why panic or freak out about it? Just have a good time and laugh about it. And, you might as well just enjoy the whole moment. And look, we got it all working and we're going to have a good time. And hopefully everyone else here is going to get to have a good time along with us. So, I mean, we might as well just have like a good drink and, just cheer up. So like, hey, let's, have some fun. So
I'm excited to answer I get lots of interesting, I'm going to use the word interesting, lots of interesting dinosaur related questions. So I'm excited to talk about all of those.
So everyone out on Periscope land, that's going to be the best way for you to submit any questions to us today, because that's what we're mostly going to be monitoring. I know Dustin's also got Instagram Live going up. So if you're watching the broadcast through there, I think you're kind of getting the behind the scenes look if you're doing Instagram. So also feel free to submit your questions via Instagram. So like Dustin's probably more likely to notice those. I'm more likely to notice the ones on Periscope. So hit us up either way and we'll get to your questions. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background for those of us who might not know who you are, and I really don't know who those people are, because come on, it seems like you have a gazillion followers on your different platforms.
Well, where do I even start? So I've always loved, so my background originally is in anthropology. So ever since I was little, I've always been someone who's like asked like why, like why though is my favorite thing just in the world. Asking like why are things the way they are? Why do we look the way that we do? Why does the society we live in function the way it does? And so like I've always been science minded. And so, but I never had a specific area that I really, really gravitated towards until I started working in museums and realized, like, fell back in love with dinosaurs. I mean, I think we all as kids go through a phase in our life where like dinosaurs are the thing. And
yeah, my 10-year-old nephew is going through that stage right now. He's so hooked on all the different Jurassic Parks, and he's got several dinosaur books now because of it. And he's like gung-ho about it. So
it's not hard to get kids excited to talk about dinosaurs. And I think that like that's one of the things I realized working at the American Museum of Natural History, for instance. The first job I ever had was at a science center because it was fun to get people to ask questions and to, like, try to figure stuff out. But as far as dinos go, there's no more fun thing to think about and study when you think about life itself. When you just want to study evolution, you want to study biology, like just life in general. There's nothing for me, at least, that is as exciting as dinosaurs, because we have clues. Like, it speaks to the nature of the scientific method. Like, we have clues about what these giant and sometimes tiny things look like, but we don't know everything. And so it's like an ultimate mystery that whether you're 10 or you're a professor of paleontology, you're looking at similar evidence about a thing that hasn't been here for 70 million years. and trying to make guesses and hypotheses about like how it moved, what it ate, what color was it, did it have feathers, and like that speaks to me to like the mystery of biology and life in general.
Yeah, that's one of the interesting things, like you're talking about, like how do we know all these things and different ways that we learn about stuff. Like there is a video you had up on YouTube about dinosaurs having sex and how they learn, you know, which dinosaurs are female and which aren't. And it was like I never had thought about it that before until you had posted that up, and it was so interesting.
The dino sex video on my YouTube channel, that one was fun. That was fun to make and fun to research because, like, yeah, you don't really think about that until you really start thinking about it, and then you go to a wormhole. And yeah, like these things were huge. They had spikes. We don't know anything about their genitalia because it doesn't fossilize. So you have to look at modern, at least the closest possible modern corollaries, and you draw comparisons. And again, if you're a 10-year-old thinking about dinosaur sex, maybe your ideas about it are just as valid and reasonable as someone who has a PhD in paleontology.
Well, a lot of times too, like I find that you've got to have some of those new, fresh thoughts. Like I've actually had my nephew help me out with my research for my master's, and some of the thought processes that he brings to it is so just outside the box, but because he's looking at it with those fresh eyes, that it just like, wow, kid, like you just totally got in on something that I never would have thought of. And so it's nice sometimes having those fresh perspectives, because if you've been in that particular field for 20, 30, 40 years, you get into that particular mindset and you kind of forget to look at things that new way that sometimes you need to be able to find those new discoveries.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it goes for any job you have. Like if you do a certain thing for so long, it's just natural. You get set in a certain way. I mean, I find myself doing that too. And it's hard. You got to think about like ways to break out of that and just recognize that the people that you're talking, if your job is to communicate something to someone else, like, you have to assume, I think you have to start from a point of assuming that they don't care, like at all. Like I could find, if you want to learn about dinosaurs or anything in the world, you can find that information in a matter of seconds on the internet. Like, why should someone listen to me talk about a thing? Like how you have to like, this is something that I stress a lot when it comes to my work with the Museum Hack, where we try to get new people to really enjoy and come into and love museums as much as we do. We recognize that we want to bring a little bit more agency to the experience, in that like you can't assume that someone cares about the stuff, and you want to always start with a position that gets them to see like how this is personally relevant to them. So I always start by asking questions of people that I don't know the answer to and that are very easy asks. And I think it translates to whatever type of Scicomm you do. First, like start with engaging the person that you're speaking to, because unless you get on like a level with them, you're just a talking head.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's, basically those, you need to be able to relate with folks. And if you can't relate, they're all of a sudden just going to stop caring because they don't feel like you're talking to them at all. So we did have a question come in, and I didn't quite catch all of it. So if I miss your questions as they're coming through, always feel free to submit them again. I have no problem having questions asked 30 times in a row if I don't catch it, as we're doing in the broadcast. Because for those of you out there in Periscope land, if you ever saw the behind the scenes of what happens with Scicomm Monday, you'd be surprised that I even am able to catch any questions at all, because there's currently about 6 screens in front of me and there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. So I think the question was like, how do you keep up on all the different like changes in paleoscience and like get everyone up on all those changes? Because there is even though we like to think of all of that ancient species and everything else, like how do we keep everyone up to date? Because there is a lot of changes, even though it's something that we think of as just old and maybe not unchanging with things.
So before I answer that question, I just want to mention you guys on Instagram. I'm doing this Periscope Live on Twitter where we talk about dinosaurs and museums and Scicomm. So if you have a question, write it, and hopefully I'll see it, and then I will try to answer it. Such as this question: who's this from?
Oh, I didn't catch who the user was, unfortunately. It went by too fast. So
the question was like, how do you keep up to date on like what's going on in the field of dinosaur science and stuff? So, one, Twitter. Like, I follow a lot of people that are either actual paleontologists or paleontologists, like postdocs, people in school to become anything in the realm of like wildlife biology, paleontology, geology. So Twitter's a great place to just see like what people are doing currently in the field. Also, just like get a dinosaurs Google alert. If you like really want to know about what's going on specifically with dinosaurs, get a Google alert, and I see every morning, like, and most of it honestly is like some county fair in random state is having some ride that has a fire-breathing dinosaur. But you also get to see other stuff too. So it's a fun mix. It's a mixed bag. So yeah, that's how I stay up to date kind of on dinosaur stuff. Like I'm not reading academic journals. I'm reading tweets from people who publish things in academic journals.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I mean, as much as I try to keep, reading different academic journals coming through and all the new science, it's impossible to keep up on. So I need those tweets to be thrown in my face for me to notice, hey, this is something neat and that I need to be reading. And so I think that question, if I read it right coming through, I think it was from Lady Naturalist, who goes, her real name is Ashley. So thanks for submitting that in. But yeah, like, what other resources are your favorite to use for Scicomm and other things? I mean, we all know about Twitter. We all know about Instagram. Is there any other things that you like to use?
So wait, sidebar. The only reason I know who Lady Naturalist is because of Twitter, which we're talking about. Right. And she does great work. And I think she's now in Cleveland in the Natural History Museum there. Her tweets are always amazing. Like, the pictures are always great. You get put in the place of the thing she's talking about. This is someone I've never met except for on Twitter. And I also feel a little shame because I'm from Ohio. I was born in Hawaii, but I grew up in Columbus, and I've never been to the Natural History Museum in Cleveland, which is ridiculous. So I owe Cleveland a visit. Lady Naturalist is currently saying hi and yay to all that. So okay.
Hey, back at you there. Glad you could tune in. So, and definitely keep the questions coming. We want to make this as much of a ask me anything rather than me just talking to Dustin. So, like, if I don't have to ask anything and can just ask everyone's questions out there, that's the more fun way to go. So
she's on Instagram now too.
Oh, nice. Yes. Way to make it totally meta here.
Okay. Okay. Wait, what was the question?
But what other resources do you really like besides like Twitter and Instagram? Do you use any other, like, I know you're on YouTube as well. Is there anything else that you really like?
As far as like learning more about the stuff that I'm into?
Right.
Okay, so two more. One, honestly, I feel like goes without saying, but I don't know what I would do without Wikipedia. Like, if I see a term or the name of an animal that I don't know, just like take 3 minutes with a Wikipedia page at the very least, and you're going to find some weird, wild thing. And like, that's all it takes is like a hook of a strange, like, crazy thing about a thing that have any idea like what wormhole you're going to go down.
I find it helps a lot for my Instagram page because I try to do a lot of natural history on my Instagram, and Wikipedia really is one of the best resources. I always try to like go back and verify some things that are on there, but I start with Wikipedia.
Yeah. Yep. That's what I mean. Like, it's not for all of your research, but like, you'll find one nugget of something that makes you go, wait, what? And like, that's all it takes. The other thing is, honestly, just like Lady Naturalist, like following people on these platforms who do similar stuff, because you will learn from your peers so much just by like absorbing the way people do what they do. And plus, like, who doesn't want to be surrounded by people who are doing stuff that they love that overlaps with the things that you love? So yeah, find people that are doing stuff that is similar to the things you want to be doing. Maybe there's only a little overlap, maybe there's a ton, and like, watch what they're doing and work with them. But and I've met so many cool people, like IRL and actual real life, who have been doing similar stuff because of connections online.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like probably 90% of what I do now is because of people I've met either through Twitter or other social media platforms, and it really has opened up so many opportunities. So it's definitely, for me, the way to go with, making those connections, especially because in my like small area, there's not a lot of people that do science communication at my university or when I'm in my hometown. Definitely, not in my hometown. I think I'm probably the only person here. And so to be able to reach out beyond those like boundaries, to the greater wide world, it really does help a lot. So, because not all of us can live in New York City like some people. So,
say that again.
I said not all of us can live in New York City like some people.
I mean, it's good for now. I mean, New York is great. I wouldn't want to be here forever, but right now, right, for sure.
So we had another question come in from Museum Hack, which I think you may have heard of them. I'm not 100% sure, but they were asking, what are your top 3 museums?
Oh, come on. That's like asking
right?
Top 3 museums. Do I need to separate art from natural history, or just top 3 museums in general?
They made it seem like top 3 museums in general, but since I am more of like on the natural history side of things, I kind of want to get your top 3 natural history museums, so that way I know which 3 museums to go through on that side.
Okay, so number 1 is the American Museum of Natural History in New York City. I'm not just saying that because I've worked there and because Museum Hack does tours there. My job, I get to go to a lot of museums, and I've been to a lot of natural history museums. And am I allowed to curse on this platform? Can I curse?
Oh, have at it. Go ahead.
Right. The American Museum of Natural History is the best fucking museum on earth. And I will fight anyone who disagrees. No, I'm a very nonviolent person. I will not fight anyone. But yeah, so that's number 1. You should, if you come to New York City, that should be the number 1 thing you do. And try to do it, ideally, if you can, not on like a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, because it's insanely busy. Also, you should come on a tour, because I lead tours there through Museum Hack. I actually don't even call them tours anymore. I call them museum adventures. And so we take 2 hours, and I show you my favorite things in the museum, show you the weird stuff you'd otherwise miss, give you about a history of the institution itself, as well as like the crazy people that brought the things there. And it's a whirlwind 2 hours where we play games, where we take a bunch of fun photos. You hear stories about people punching leopards to death. It is the best 2 hours you will ever spend in a museum. And I'm not just saying that. Like, I 100% guarantee you come on a tour with me at the American Museum of Natural History through Museum Hack, or anyone at Museum Hack for that matter, it will be the best 2 hours you've ever spent in a museum.
Yeah, I've got to say I'm very interested in some of the games and stuff you guys do with Museum Hack. I'm throwing up some of the photos from one of the tours that you've given, and it's just like, it looks like a lot of fun. But yeah, there's something called the Mannequin Challenge. So what is the Museum Hack Mannequin Challenge?
So the Mannequin Challenge was a thing that was popular, I don't know, maybe a year ago at this point, where everyone like was frozen in the world, and then people were panning around, walking around. It looked like it was just a photo that you're walking, and then some music drops and everyone starts moving. And so we were all in an empty Met, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, one night, and so we just did that. Because why not try to capitalize on whatever is hot on the internet in that fleeting moment? Plus, it's a fun thing to do. We do a similar thing kind of during tours, and we've been doing this since the beginning. It's called tableau vivant, which translates literally to living picture. So you go to a portrait gallery, or you go to an area that has statues or animals, a diorama, dinosaurs, whatever. And the idea is that you want to recreate yourself and whoever's with you as the exact form of the thing behind you. Which is silly and ridiculous and stupid, but it makes for tremendous photo ops. Like, these photos look amazing. You're having a great time. You're in the museum. The lighting is cool. There's a fucking bear behind you. You look smart. You look cultured. But like, more importantly, if you want to come from like a museum education or a Scicomm standpoint, if you have to pose yourself and your friends for a picture exactly like a painting, exactly like a diorama, exactly like an articulated dinosaur, you are going to look longer and harder at the details in that painting or in that diorama than if I were to stand there and tell you about it, or you were to walk by and read the plaque. And so like, getting people physically involved in the museum, like in a kinesthetic way that's not against the rules, it's against convention. Like, you don't see people posing like statues. You don't see people like sitting on the floor in the museum. But like, getting people physically active like that and giving them that like agency and ownership. I don't tell them what to pose with or how to pose. They have time to go find what they like with their friend. They're going to like take their own photo. So it's pretty low pressure, but it gives people a chance to take a little more ownership over their own exploration, rather than me as ultimately the representative of the museum, just telling them the information.
Yeah, no, that's a great way. I like how engaging you make it, because it makes it a lot more fun. And hi out to everyone who's been joining in the last couple of minutes. We did get an update from Museum Hack that they said they wanted the top 3 dinosaur museums, but I kind of still want to hear like your top 3 art, your top 3 natural history, and then maybe just your top 3 for just straight for dinosaurs, for the big, huge lovers of dinosaurs out there.
Just for dinosaurs? Okay, yeah. So still, American Museum of Natural History, still number 1. I'm going to check in on Instagram for a second. Instagram Live friends, hi. I'm also doing a Periscope with Scicomm Monday on Twitter, where I'm being asked all sorts of dinosaur museum and Scicomm questions. So if you have questions, like Rachel does apparently, and like someone else just did, John Lang, I think. Yeah, John, that earring you got in Tampa, that was a mistake. You shouldn't have done that on New Year's night. That's true. I'm just throwing friends under the bus on Instagram right now.
Oh, I think you have to. When you've got them up there and you've got them live, you might as well, right?
Right. All right. So ask me questions, and I will hopefully see them and answer them. So back over here. The question was what? One more time?
It's what's your top 3 dinosaur museums?
Okay.
But then we were also trying to get you the top 3 art museums, and then just straight the top 3 like natural history museums too.
So
because I just kind of want to know, since you are the museum expert guy, if I want to go to a museum for like all these different things, I want to know which ones should I go to. So
it's fair. It's fair. I get to go to a lot of museums for work. Like I have a great job. I get paid to go to weird museums in weird cities I otherwise would want to visit anyway. So it's great. So top 3 dinosaur museums. Number 1, American Museum of Natural History in New York City. Number 2, I've got to. Oh, wow, this is so hard because there's so many good ones. All right, I got to go with Royal Tyrrell in Drumheller, Canada. It's Canada's dinosaur museum. Yeah, shout out to Sam. I've been there, and it's amazing. Hi, Sam. Samantha Haddon. She's on Twitter too.
Yeah,
She's
Lady
great.
Naturalist is saying the Utah Museum of Natural History is really awesome. So
I've been there, but I have been to the Dinosaur Museum. Why am I forgetting its name? The Wyoming Dinosaur. No, that's a different one. The one in Bozeman. Oh my God, Museum of the Rockies. Sorry,
Okay.
Museum of the Rockies in Bozeman. That one is awesome as well. They have the largest collection of T-Rex specimens and skulls anywhere in the world, I believe. So if you like T-Rex, check that place out for sure.
yeah, she's also saying the Royal Ontario Museum. I don't know is that what the one you were talking about just a few minutes ago?
No.
Or is that a different one?
Say it again?
The Royal Ontario Museum. I know you said there was one up in Canada, but I didn't quite catch which one it was.
So Royal Tyrrell in Drumheller is Canada's dinosaur.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But the ROM in Toronto, yeah, like that comes into mind for sure for the next best dinosaur museum.
So that should be a trip because I've got a conference in outskirts of Toronto next year. So I should make my way down and make sure I go to that museum for sure.
Dude, go to the ROM for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
the Royal Ontario Museum in Toronto is great. I love any museum that has giant pterosaurs flying from the ceiling. I think they have a Quetzalcoatlus. So that's great. Hashtag not a dinosaur. Pterosaurs and marine reptiles, not dinosaurs. Equally badass, lived at the same time. Technically
Nice.
not dinosaurs. Yeah, so they're great. They actually in the museum community they do something that's pretty famous called Friday Night Lights, like ROM FNL. So they are open late on certain Fridays of every month, and they have a bunch of programming and like there's a bar and there's music, and it's geared towards getting millennials in the door, frankly, like the college through age 35, 40 or so. It's a really cool program that a lot of museums are trying to do similar things to try to reach people in that age group. Museums do great work for school groups and families, and for slightly older demographics that are bought into what we think of as kind of the traditional museum experience. But historically, museums haven't done so well getting millennials, frankly, like the 18 to 35-year-old demographic in the door. And so events like this one at the ROM, Friday Night Lights, is an awesome way. Although, to be fair, pet peeve, I've seen a lot of museums try to do similar stuff where it's like, all right, we'll be open late and there'll be a DJ and there'll be a bar. And people come and it's a cool place to have a party, but it doesn't have any real correlation or connection with the institution or what's on display. And so at Museum Hack, for instance, when we help museums throw events like these to get new groups in the door, it's usually a combination of that. Like there's a bar, maybe there's music, there's definitely food as well. But we do stuff that gets people actually going out in the exhibits and exploring and taking pictures and doing mini tours so that there's actually a connection with the museum content and not just like this is a cool building to have a party in. Because like that's how you start building relationships that get people to want to come back to the museum and see it as more than just a giant encyclopedia.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And hey, to everyone who's tuning in right now, hello, and it's great to have you on here. And to Great Lakes Cisco, yes, I agree. When we go to AGLR, so AGLR is the International Association of Great Lakes Research. That's the conference that's going to be in Toronto. It looks like I've got my museum buddy for going to the ROM there for sure. So that should be a lot of fun. And then Lady Naturalist was saying that they have the Think and Drink with the Extinct program that they do, and that's kind of like what you're talking about. It's where you got maybe like I'm assuming it's where you have like that bar and you get out there and you're like talking and learning about all the different cool things in there. And yes, Great Lakes Cisco, absolutely for sure we're going. So
Yeah.
but yeah, it's one of those things. I think it gets you more engaged, it loosens you up, it lets you have some fun. You're not necessarily running around with I mean, as much as I love kids, you know, I've got a great niece and nephew. I work with kids all the time and everything. Sometimes it's nice where you can just have more of that chill setting to learn about all that natural history in a fun way without all those school groups running around and just, you know, you're having to fight through those crowds. You've just got all the adults that are there and relaxed and having a good time and learning science at a different pace than what would be offered during the day.
For sure.
Yep.
So I have a few different comments or questions on Instagram.
No, have at it. Yeah.
Which I can.
We got to take care of both audiences, so
right.
I'm good to go.
Can you ask people I don't even want a question. Just tell me your favorite dinosaur so we can nerd out together about things we love.
Yeah. All so right. Periscope folks, you all heard them. Give me your favorite dinosaur, and I'll make sure I get that related over. So we definitely want to hear it. So.
Rachel, you know I love cladograms, and I'm going to talk about cladograms whenever I can. You guys, cladograms are trees that display evolutionary relationships. And for someone who is OCD about organizing life that way is pretty awesome. All right, more questions.
I know you just had a YouTube video up that was saying that there's possibly a change in how the dinosaurs are, you know, put on that evolutionary tree. So Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Of course, but first I want to tell Fox at Heart I have not been to the Natural History Museum in Paris, which I've heard is amazeballs. I would like to go for sure. We have a favorite as a Stegosaurus, 2 Stegosaurus favorites.
Nice.
Rachel, I will block you. I won't block you. All right. So, Parasaurolophus, hell yeah. Dilophosaurus. See, now we just I love those are both good ones. Okay, Dilophosaurus. So, back to here.
So like there's apparently a possible change in how dinosaurs are being organized with things. Like, what can you tell us about that? Because I didn't know about it until I happened to like randomly catch that video of yours on YouTube, and it was like, wait, what?
So I think I'm about to go down a taxonomy and cladogram wormhole. Yes, we generally, I'll try to do this as quickly as possible. Scientists generally classify groups of animals, or taxonomists classify groups of animals based on shared characteristics, right? And so all the things that have the characteristics, a certain suite of characteristics are cats, another suite of characteristics make this animal a dog. Now, you can verify how you're grouping things based on genetics, but even then there's an arbitrary line of like how much an animal has in common with another. When it comes to animals that aren't around anymore, we have to look at skeletons and be like, oh, these all have these features, so they're going to be this group of animals, like dinosaurs. These all have these features, they're going to be this group of animals, for instance, pterosaurs, right? And then even within those groups, you have smaller and smaller groups. So you have dinosaurs, but then you have saurischian dinosaurs, which include things like T-Rex and Brontosaurus. And then you have ornithischian dinosaurs, and those include things like Triceratops, Stegosaurus. But even some of those are relatively arbitrary groupings based on what we can see as shared characteristics in a relatively scant fossil record. And so the more information we get and the better specimens we get, we start to figure out more things have certain things in common with other dinosaurs than others. And we can start to maybe correct things that we put together erroneously in the past. But even then, it's still like, it's always an ongoing process because who knows what percentage of all dinosaurs we've found, right? We've only been really finding dinosaurs for 150, 200 years, or at least classifying them and organizing them. So maybe we found like 90% of all the dinosaurs that lived. Maybe we found like 2%. So whatever like whatever pseudo-arbitrary classifications we're making are going to change. And right now, there's a hypothesis about grouping, about kind of switching saurischian and ornithischian dinosaurs. I'm not getting into the nitty-gritty. But we'll see, because it's one study. We need to see how much evidence they have, and that's what we do in science. We look at the evidence, we make a theory, and then we weigh it. We have our peers look at it, and we try to make it either stronger or disprove it. So we'll see what happens. But it's exciting. It's also weird because, like, for instance, at the American Museum of Natural History, their fossil halls are broken up the same way that that dinosaur cladogram is. So if we start believing in a different cladogram, if they want to stay accurate in how their fourth floor is laid out, they'd have to rename halls and move a bunch of animals around.
Oh, they can't be too happy about that then.
Right. So science moves slowly, and it would kind of be a revolution in dinosaur, at least dinosaur taxonomy. Maybe not all of paleontology.
Yeah, it's always fun to see like when like new theories get proposed and pushed through and see like how the science community reacts to it and then how like the rest of the world reacts to it. I mean, because think about like when Pluto was no longer considered a planet. I mean, that was such a huge uproar for everyone, but the science was going that particular way and all science was saying, yeah, we think, we need to reclassify. And I gotta admit, it's still tough for me to not think of Pluto as a planet. It's like,
good riddance.
When I was growing up.
Get out of here. Good riddance. Like, that's why science is awesome.
Yeah.
We're never 100% sure.
Exactly. Yeah. And just because it was that way when I grew up doesn't mean it was correct. So, like, it's great that we've got that new information to add on to things and be able to give that better, complete picture that we didn't have before.
Truth. I've been getting a lot of, have you, over on the Twitter spheres, have you gotten any names of dinosaurs people like?
Not on the Twitter itself, but let me double check again because when I'm managing 50,000 screens here, it's always fun to see what's coming through, what is coming through.
So I'm going to go through. Hi again to people on Instagram. I'm answering questions live on Periscope through Scicomm Monday about dinosaurs, museums, and science communication. If you're listening, hi, thanks, and watching. Tell me your favorite dinosaur, and I'm just going to scroll through right now and see all these people's favorite dinosaurs.
Yeah, definitely. Like, let us know what you're getting over there because I'd be really interested to see for sure.
Maple says the new Chelisaurio. That is a pretty interesting, relatively new dino. Parasaurolophus, hell yeah, bit nerd design. I mean, if you have a 3-foot-long head trombone attached to your skull, you are all right in my book. Dilophosaurus, Bethany and her animals. Dilophosaurus, pretty badass. It's about twice as big. In Jurassic Park, they kind of inverted or switched the sizes of Dilophosaurus and Velociraptor. Also, there's absolutely no evidence for a frill or for spitting from Dilophosaurus. Artistic license made it pretty badass, but no real evidence for that.
Yeah, since you brought up Jurassic Park, like how accurate has it been, do you find? Are the movies pretty spot on, or are they like a lot of like little inconsistencies that kind of drive the dinosaur folks crazy?
If you want to go through the scientific inaccuracies in Jurassic Park, buckle up.
We can start now. We'll be here till like tomorrow morning early.
Right.
This is the longest Scicomm Monday broadcast ever, everybody.
We could talk forever. Speaking of, Brachiosaurus was in Jurassic Park. Christopher Chan likes Brachiosaurus. That's a good dinosaur. Bambi Raptor. Tiny raptors are very cute. A lot of Stegosaurus fans.
See, you can't go wrong with Stegosaurus. Hey,
yep.
It's a good one.
Yep, Stegosaurus
Glad everyone out there on Instagram's got my back. So,
I mean, I've said this on multiple platforms. The thing that blew my mind about Stegosaurus they have like plates, but of all, we know they're crisscrossed in channels of blood vessels, so they probably could have blushed a brighter color, maybe even reddish. That could have been used to help for temperature regulation or to make bright colors for either mating displays or trying to scare away predators. But even craziest is we always see them in museums or pictures with the plate sticking up in the air, but they're not fused to the spine. They're technically osteoderms, which are bone just embedded in the skin. So there's a distinct possibility that the majority of the time, Stegosaurus plates laid flat down its side and only flipped up like that for either defense or mating.
Oh, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, kind of like a cat.
I never knew that.
Makes itself look bigger to scare away predators.
Yeah.
Dudes at the gym make themselves look bigger to try to win a mate, I guess. Bad analogy, yes.
That totally makes sense. And now you've just ruined the gym, for me forever. Because anytime I look at anybody like getting all puffed up, all I'm going to be seeing is like the Stegosaurus, and I'm waiting for like the plates to pop up somewhere.
I mean, I said that, and I was literally at the gym 2 hours ago before we started this. So
nice.
I'll throw myself under the bus for the purpose of a joke. It doesn't matter. A lot of people saying that birds are dinosaurs. That is good.
Good.
This is true.
I think you've got what I don't know. Like, did you start the hashtag or did someone else start the hashtag of where it's birds are dinosaurs? Hashtag birds are dinosaurs.
I mean, I've used the hashtag birds are dinosaurs. I don't know if I started it. I'll surely take credit for that. Why not?
Yeah, because I'll admit I never heard it until I saw like the Instagram post that you had with like the chalkboard where it says like hashtag birds are dinosaurs on there. And I was like, that's pretty cool. Like, I mean, it's just really simple. It gets the point across and hopefully, it gets people engaged. But I think there's like a lot more acceptance of it than what there was even like, 20, 30 years ago with that. So.
Is it too dark? I feel like it got dark outside and now I'm real dark.
Yeah, you are getting a little darker. You're
light.
starting to get that, like, scary, like, stalker kind of look, serial killer kind of look.
This is getting a little...
There you go. Yeah.
A little better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we can actually see you and have fun.
Excellent.
But yeah, so everyone out there in Periscope land, we're talking with Dustin Growick. He's from Museum Hack, and he does a lot of really cool Scicomm for museums and also with dinosaurs. You can check him out on YouTube with the Dinosaur Show, and then also on Instagram. He's the Dinosaur Whisperer on Instagram. So since we're talking about a couple of your other things, talk to us a little bit about Instagram. Like, how did you get so big and generate such a huge following on Instagram? It just seems like you just started putting pictures out there of dinosaurs in modern day settings, and it just kind of seemed to take off from there. Is that basically what happened? Oh.
Kind of. Yeah, so it's a good time to check in with Instagram. So Instagram Live people, hi, I've never done an Instagram Live. That's what's happening right now, in case you're wondering. I'm doing a Periscope on Twitter with Scicomm Monday, and we're talking about dinosaurs and museums and Scicomm. And the last question was, how did this whole Instagram thing get started with Dinosaur Whisperer? So I started doing tours with Museum Hack, and we had a lot of picture and photo taking opportunities during the tours at the museum. And so if we were going to talk about Instagram or ask people to post stuff on Instagram, I figured I should probably figure out how it works, because I wasn't even on Instagram. What was this, 4 years ago, 3 years ago or so? Something like that. And so I liked the handle Dinosaur Whisperer. I was pretty excited it was available. And pretty quickly I started photoshopping realistically sized and scaled and colored dinosaurs into famous New York City landscapes or famous places, or even just really great photography. With the idea being that generally people see dinosaurs as a stoic display in a museum and not a big active animal that lived in and around these areas. And so having a dinosaur peeking around the corner in New York City, you see it in a different way. And it was a fun way for me to think about dinosaurs in the city that I live in and love. And so I started doing that. And then I spent a lot of time just liking people's posts that were #dinosaur. And apparently me being having good photos on there, having something that resonates, and then putting the time to reach out and other people's dinosaur stuff is kind of how it happened. And here we are today. It's pretty crazy.
Has there been any of the dinosaurs out there that you posted up that you find, or just one that drives everyone wild and gets them super excited? What's the dinosaur that is the most loved on your Instagram feed there?
It's hard to say the dinosaur specifically, because I think a lot of it has to do with the size and the picture and how good the Photoshop job is. It's no surprise that people resonate towards large predators. So T-Rex stuff always does well. Weird dinosaur stuff, dinosaurs that people haven't really heard of. I saw a friend over here on Instagram mention Therizinosaurus. So Therizinosaurus was almost as big as a T-Rex. Had meter long, 3 foot long claws, but was an herbivore. Whoa. It looked like you see Edward Scissorhands chicken type giant situation. And
now I feel I need to do a Photoshop job with Edward Scissorhands and just straight up put a chicken head right up on Johnny Depp's body.
There you go. Yeah. So that one resonates. I've also realized through Instagram that people gravitate towards personal stories. That's why people right now, I can't believe, are on Instagram and on Twitter listening to me talk about stuff. But people want to know the vehicle through which the information is being communicated. So when I talk to museums, for instance, about Instagram presence on museum, I always suggest that one way they can try to go about this is have, instead of the institution post things, have a mascot or a person or a personality through which they're experiencing the institution. So rather than being a faceless museum, you're seeing this place through the eyes of a person that you can relate to, or that who's looking at the thing. And so for instance, on Instagram stories, when I started just doing stories to practice different types of storytelling. And I always kind of kept back to I want to see at some point, ideally somewhere near the beginning, the face through which I'm experiencing the world.
Yeah, no, I really like the stories thing. Is it Imogene Cancelaire on Instagram? She goes by biologist Imogene. She does a really good job with the stories on there. I've been like really impressed to see like how engaging you can make the stories be. I feel like it's definitely more of that fun and integrative Scicomm than versus just straight up just doing like just a regular picture and a half paragraph of text that you normally do on Instagram. But the stories, I don't know, it just feels like you're just that quick storytelling that's fun. You got the text on the picture and everything. It makes it a lot more engaging for sure. So.
Yeah, people are natural born like story listeners, but I think you also have to think about the platform. Like I've gotten away from long copy on Instagram because like it's not a platform for that. It's a platform for pictures and sharing visually the world. Yeah, so like what's the point of taking a big long amount of time to write a whole thing if people aren't going to read it on that platform? I think you have to think about like the language of every platform and try to speak that language. It's hard for museums often to like adapt to having a different tone of voice or a different method of like marketing or talking about themselves. And it's different on every platform.
Oh, for sure. There is like a style to every one. Like I find from Snapchat to Instagram to Twitter to Facebook to YouTube and, different podcast things. It's like there's a different thing for everything. And you almost feel like sometimes like you have to speak a whole nother different language to figure out like what it is to like make it be successful and have something that people are going to engage with on there for sure. So
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I had a question from Meg. Yes, this is a calculator watch.
Nice.
It's really just a conversation starter. People are like, is that just like this? Mm-hmm. Any calculations I'm doing on my phone. Another question.
Come on, it'd be much more entertaining to watch you try to hit all those tiny little buttons.
It is. It's laborious. It takes a while. It really does.
You almost need like a separate stylus just to be able to hit all that. Because I've got fairly like slim fingers, and even myself would be kind of like hard to like do it like the calculator watch.
They're very small buttons. Yeah. So I have a question for someone who wrote their favorite dinosaur. A woman by the on Instagram _JK Downer claims that Camptosaurus, with I should mention the clapping emoji in between each syllable of Camptosaurus, was their favorite dinosaur, and I'm curious to know why, because that is not an answer you get very often. So Camptosaurus. So I should ask anyone else. Has anyone else even heard of Camptosaurus?
I don't know, but like my dad tuned into the Periscope and he typed something in it. I had no clue. I'm assuming that's a dinosaur he named off, but I have no clue what it is. So I'm gonna have to go back and look at it at some point in time and send it off to you so you can teach me which dinosaur it is. Because I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, Dad. So, Dad, if you're out there still watching and listening, feel free to send that in, and I will try to say what the heck it is and see if we can get Dustin to talk to us a little bit more about it. But.
So can I go through a few other comments that people
Yeah, sure. Have at it.
Okay, so Michaela says Brachiosaurus. Heck yeah, because pterodactyls are not dinos, which is true. Again, flying reptiles, not dinosaurs. We have a favorite. Wait a minute. Oh, Therizinosaurus. Thank you for pronouncing Therizinosaurus. Of course, Bethany and her animals. Just remember, there is no saurus like Therizinosaurus. Rachel is still talking about things. Let's see. Okay, I feel like I missed a lot of people's favorite dinosaurs, but that's okay because we have time. Solar panels, those are not dinosaurs. Ooh, a vote for Pachycephalosaurus. That is my good friend and colleague Zach Martelluzzi's favorite dinosaur from Bethany and her animals also. That's one that has 9 inches of bone on its head. And that sounded, yeah, its skull is 9 inches thick.
That sounded really perverse, but also really cool at the same time.
Yep. Smelly's Mozart. Don't forget Procompsognathus. Procompsognathus is a hard one to say. That's a pretty good one. I like that one. Kentrosaurus. Pliosaurus, not a dinosaur. Marine reptile. Equally badass. Apatosaurus. We have a vote for Apatosaurus. That's a pretty good one. Meg also asked, are there any conflicting or confusing updates in paleontology that have thrown me off recently? Yes. There's a theory, a relatively widespread, still gaining a little traction, theory that Triceratops and Torosaurus are the same animal, but at different growth states. growth stages, because just like many animals change size and proportion as they grow. Oh no! Down goes Instagram.
You're just wanting to give everyone a fun, exciting ride over there on Instagram. So.
How do I start? Oh God, I just ended it.
Oh,
I don't know.
No.
How do I keep going? I lost it. So Torosaurus and Triceratops. So if you look at a human skull and skeleton, obviously human kids have huge heads compared to their body. So even our body sizes change as we grow. Same thing with dinosaurs. If you look at the giant frill on a Triceratops, in certain ages, potentially based on this theory, there are like holes in the frill, and they fill in, or they fill in as they age. And so we think, or they lose, bone material as we age. So we think that Triceratops and Torosaurus were the same animal at different growth stages, with Triceratops just being a junior or a kid Torosaurus. But we'll see. We haven't, like we talked about earlier, finding more specimens will give you more information. You can make a better theory about who's grouped with who.
Yeah, speaking of finding so many specimens, do you know which specimen is like the one that they have or which species they have like the most specimens of? Like, are there only 50 different T-Rexes out there that they've been able to unearth? Like, how many are there? I mean, it seems like there's been a gazillion of them, but like I don't really know. Do you happen to know?
How many? What is the dinosaur that we found the most of?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. That's a really good question. I know we found like herds of like Myosaurus. We found herds that have died in, we think, floods. I know we found a ton of Protoceratops. Protoceratops was a Mongolian. Well, obviously it wasn't Mongolia at the time, but at the time living in what is now Mongolia, like the size of a large sheep. And we found them at like every growth stage. So for instance, at the American Museum of Natural History, there's a lineup of like 12 different skulls. The first Protoceratops skull is like this big, and then the next one's this big, and then this big, and it just goes all the way down to infant. So I know we found a ton of those. That's a good point to like remember that it's really rare to find a complete skeleton. So when you see a dinosaur like a T-Rex or any long-necked sauropod in a museum, there's a good chance though only parts of that are real, or it's a composite of multiple different dinosaurs. So the Apatosaurus at the American Museum of Natural History they've taken pieces from multiple different individuals to be able to piece together an almost complete skeleton. The T-Rex at AMNH is 2 T-Rexes. It's pieces from 2 T-Rexes put together. With smaller animals, it's much more likely to find a complete skeleton. So my guess would be that we found more small animals, if you want to say complete. But again, those are harder to find. Like think about, is it harder to find a skeleton of a rat or like a femur that's taller than you?
Right, that's going to stand out a little bit more when you're digging through the ground, for sure. So like, why don't you talk to us a little bit about your YouTube channel, the Dinosaur Show, because that I found is really entertaining. You learn a lot. You're super engaging with everyone. You make it fun. So talk to us about how you come up with the videos. Do you have like a whole crew of folks that are helping you do the videos, or like what all goes into it?
I wish I had a crew. I wish I had any help. Hold on, my phone is falling.
Yeah, as someone who's managing multiple screens over here and doing everything on their own, I can definitely sympathize with that for sure. So.
Okay.
Yeah, you at least need someone, a crew member there to hold your phone while you're doing the Instagram for sure.
Right. I think everyone can see me now. Okay. Hi, Instagram Live people. I'm also doing a Periscope on Twitter with Scicomm Monday. We're talking about dinosaurs and museums and science communication. And then the question right now, can we repeat that one more time?
So talk to us about your YouTube channel with the Dinosaur Show broadcast that you do on there.
Nice. So I have a YouTube channel called The Dinosaur Show, and I started doing it because I wanted to do something in video, and I wanted to talk about my favorite thing to talk about in science, which is dinosaurs. And so originally I was like, I guess I'm kind of modeling this after the PBS Digital Studios type stuff. And then as I went on, I was like, well, I just want to tell stories. And so I just started playing and trying different things. Whether I was traveling, what could I say on here that would be fun or captivating? What would be good visuals? And then recently I've been like interviewing friends because I think I get to meet a lot of really cool people in this line of work. And it's cool to ask them questions and then use that as like an excuse to then talk about their favorite dinosaur. So rather than specifically like teaching about a dinosaur, having it be more of like a conversation. But yeah, I've just used it as a platform to practice being on video, frankly. Like I knew if I wanted to do more stuff on video, if I wanted to be a science communicator in some sort of like TV capacity or hosting, regardless of if it's a live event or TV or whatever, because I do a lot of event stuff now with Museum Hack. I knew I had to practice that platform too. And so that's what I've been doing. And that's a side gig. Like I have a full-time job on the side. I mean, I do the videos on the side. I wish I had more time to make more. I wish I would one day maybe get paid to make stuff like that. But at this point, it is practice and a demonstration of my value on video as like a science communicator. And a chance to nerd out with friends about dinosaurs.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that sentiment of wanting to nerd out with your friends. So I kind of feel like that's what Scicomm Monday is for me, is it lets me go hang out with people that I either am friends with, through science, or, people that I admire that do some awesome science and science communication. It gives me a chance like, hey, let's hang out for an hour and chat about like all the cool stuff that you do. And so it's a really fun way to just be able to like see all the neat things that there people are doing out there that you admire and like, and you get to share it with everybody else. So
it's been fun. It's been fun for sure. I wish I had more time to do more. I want to start working on some other video adventures, but I'm not sure exactly what. I wish there was more time in the world, generally speaking. Mm-hmm. But there's stuff in the works. I promise.
Yeah. So yeah. How long do you like? How long does it take you to like make one video? If you were to do like one video from like start to stop, like about how long does it take you to actually produce those?
I have no idea. I can't get. Everyone is different. If you're someone who wants to start doing that type of stuff, you cannot let great be the enemy of good. Like for someone like me, I overthink everything. Like everything, it's a problem. And if you wait to have stuff be perfect, you'll never put anything out at all. And you have to like just be like, you know what? This isn't, even when you're not greatly proud of something, the fact that you went through it and you did it and you put it out there helps you learn and get better moving forward. So like, and I'm the biggest victim of this. You're scared of putting out things that aren't great, that you think you'll be judged poorly on, or that like aren't your best work. But in order to get to consistently doing that great stuff, you got to go through that crap. Like you've got to do it. And you look back and you're like, oh, I should have done that different. But you learn from it. And yeah, it's just that whole like the longest journey starts with the first step thing, to use a horribly tired metaphor.
But it's so true. I mean, you really just have to go and jump into it and give it a try and see what works and what doesn't work. And what might have worked last week might not work this week, but then it might work 2 weeks from now. So just keep going and trying and having fun and keep, producing stuff that you like. And you see if other people like it too. So why don't you talk to us, because we're starting to like kind of come to the close of the hour here. Why don't you talk to us a little bit more about Museum Hack? Like where can you do Museum Hack? Is it just in New York City, or are you guys in other cities? Like where can we like go have fun for those of us who can't always travel to New York City, for every weekend out there?
Hold on one sec. I'm resetting up my Instagram camera situation.
I'm sure those Instagram followers are most appreciative of everything that you're giving them right now.
I'm really the worst. I'm trying to make this happen. This is so off balance. So
we got to get you one of those like little portable like tripods or something just for your Instagram lives from now on.
Right.
Yeah, I'll admit my portable tripod that I usually use for my Scicomm Monday broadcast broke recently, and I'm just like, oh no, what do I do? And my phone is just barely hanging on the edge of my computer right here, and I'm hoping it doesn't fall and cut off the broadcast at any point in time.
Oh, here we go. Okay, so Museum Hack. Oh, I see why. We're at two different angles. Yep. I bet people are really enjoying this right now. I'm just going to hold this phone. Oh my God, that's my kitchen. All right. So, hi friends. So the question was, what is Museum Hack? And like, if you want to come on a Museum Hack tour, how do you make that happen? Right. Is that fair?
Yeah, like where are you? Like, is it just New York City? Are you in other cities? Like,
Mm-hmm.
And who gets to do it? Like, how do we sign up? Because I'm kind of interested in doing one at some point in time now that you got me all excited about it. But like, where can I go to do it? Because I'm in the Midwest and the Great Lakes. In New York City isn't like
I wish we
perfect drop over. So
I wish we could do Museum Hack everywhere. In fact, like my main role at Museum Hack, in addition to doing tours, is I go to other museums and do trainings on how we do tours differently, as well as like how we throw events, like we talked about earlier, that get new people in the door. Museum Hack itself holds public tours in New York at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the American Museum of Natural History. We are in D.C. at the National Gallery. We're in Chicago at the Art Institute. We're in San Francisco at the De Young Museum. And we are now in L.A. at the Getty. And so all of those places you can go and take a Museum Hack tour. So the way that you get a ticket to that, just go to museumhack.com. You can use my name, Dustin, as a discount code if you want to buy a ticket to any of those museum tours. So there's a calendar online. You just pick your museum, pick a day, and it will be the most fun 2 hours you've probably ever had in the museum. So yeah, we do tours all over the place, and they're awesome. And they're a fun way to experience an institution either that you've never been to or that you already love. It's a fun way to experience it in a different way.
Yeah, so are most of your tours just 2 hours, or do you have longer tours, or are they always, around that 2 hour time frame?
So our general public tours are 2 hours. We do slightly longer tours. For instance, at the Met here in New York on Friday and Saturday nights, we do something we call a VIP tour. You stop halfway through in the cafe for a glass of wine or a beer, which is a ton of fun. Those are a little bit longer because the museum is open late those nights. But generally speaking, they're 2 hour tours. We find that 2 hours in these big institutions is about the right amount of time to get group buy-in, to tell a bunch of really fun stories, to see a fair amount of the museum, play games, do some photo challenges, and like get your money's worth from taking these tours. Because I understand that most museums have free tours, which are awesome, and we're selling a product. And so I totally understand that like we're competing with other premium products, like going to a Broadway show or going a night out at the movies. And so we think a lot about like, I want you to get every single dollar of your money or worth of your money, especially because a lot of these museums are free to get into. You could go and walk around for free if you want. Why should you pay this crazy person money to show you around? That should be how you go into it. And then you'll be blown away. It'll be great.
So since I'm in Michigan right now and I'm going, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying, like at museumhack.com, pick a city, pick a date. You can use my name, first name Dustin, as a discount code. Come on tour with us. It is a shit ton of fun. Museums are fucking awesome.
So, I mean, since I'm from Michigan, I would be going to Chicago most likely for the Museum Hack if I, when I go on a tour. What do I expect from like when I show up at the museum there? Like, what am I going to get to do? Like, what's going to be the enticement to like drag someone else down to Chicago with me to go do this?
Yeah. You don't need to entice them. I think you need to say, listen, we're going to go to a building that houses millions, if not billions of years of art, history, science, and culture. And we're going to go on an adventure. Tell them that and be like, and if you didn't have fun at the end of that 2 hours, like you can have some sort of punishment that's personal to you and the person you're thinking. But I will stake, I'm guaranteeing that for you.
So and then basically, if I was to bet like, a craft beer on, that this is going to be a good time, they're going to have fun, I'm making a pretty solid bet there is what you're saying.
Yes. It's going to be a ton of fun. Like you're going to hear wild stories that you'd otherwise not hear. You're going to go and see crazy little corners of the museum and crazy things in corners you otherwise would never see. It's going to get weird. There's going to be some gossip. You're going to play some stupid games. You're going to take some fun, silly photos, but you're going to leave there incredibly entertained and you're going to have learned a ton of stuff. And ideally, you can't wait to come back. Because like, I like to think of what we do at Museum Hack as we're kind of like museum personal trainers, in that a lot of times certain people like recognize that, oh, that's a place I should go and I should like use the equipment, for lack of a better phrase, but I'm not really sure like how to get started. And so like we're here to show you how to get started in like the most amazing cultural institutions on the planet.
Sweet. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun, and it sounds like I need to like be planning a trip down to Chicago here sooner rather than later for sure. So, but
for sure.
Well, since we're just about out of time, any last things that you want to kind of throw out there to the Periscope audience before we let them go and go on their merry way to like go start watching some cool dinosaur videos and things?
Yes. So if you do science, if you do Scicomm, don't take yourself too seriously. Like I think if we're trying to get new people excited and engaged and entertained and learning, like we can't start from like a professorial ivory tower. like we love the stuff we do, but we can't take like our research and the things we do too seriously because we're trying to get people excited and entertained first. And so I tell a lot of really stupid jokes because maybe that's my personality. But like I think that people that follow whatever I do in the Scicomm world have learned stuff about dinosaurs and have shared stuff about dinosaurs. And again, like I think studying dinosaurs is important because I think studying life in general is important. And for me, there's no more fun and easy inroads to studying life itself than studying dinosaurs. True story.
Nice. Well, I think you probably won over a few people with dinosaurs, with everything, because I mean it is really cool, and I know I'm going to be back, once we get done here, watching some more of those videos and checking them out because I've been finding them quite entertaining. So I got to slowly make my way through that playlist that you've got there. So,
thanks, Nicole, and thanks for having me. This was fun. Like I love nerding out and talking about this stuff. If it wasn't clear, I really do. So thank you for having me for sure. And everyone who's watching this should follow Scicomm Monday. On the Twitters. Are you on Instagram?
Scicomm Monday is only on Twitter and Periscope, but I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and basically everything else under the sun. Snapchat, on my personal handle of Wildlife BioGal. So if you guys want any sort of like fun science that way, I also do that too. I figured Scicomm Monday I figured it was best to try to limit it because it's so crazy if you go onto everything sometimes.
Yeah. So Nicole is Wildlife BioGal on multiple different platforms. Also, my friends on Instagram, on Twitter, I'm just at Dustin Growick. So if you want more bad puns, that's a place to go. Thanks, Nicole, though, for sure. I think I'm going to hang out on the Instagrams for a minute because a lot of people have been saying their favorite dinosaurs, and I have to acknowledge that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'll get all the closing stuff off here with all the Periscope folks, and I'll be right back with you in just a second. But I do want to tell everyone out there in Periscope land, definitely big thanks to Dustin for joining us today because it really was appreciated and a lot of fun and definitely a very entertaining. And I can't wait to check out some more of the museum hack and all your dinosaur whisper and dinosaur show stuff that you've got out there in Scicomm. You're doing a great job, and it's definitely something that everyone should check out for sure. So
thank you, Nicole. Seriously, thank you for having me.
Anytime, and if you want to come back on, we'd love to have you. So, and if you want to get follow Dustin's stuff, make sure you check him out at Dustin Growick on Twitter, and then he's also on a whole bunch of different platforms, but you can use the Twitter to go find everything else. Next week, we're going to have Dr. Amanda Glaze on. She's at Evo PhD on Twitter, and that should be a really fun and entertaining broadcast. You're not going to want to miss this one. And then I just want to say a big thank you to all of our Patreon sponsors out there. Thank you so much for supporting Scicomm Monday. Without you, we couldn't keep this going. And then a big, huge extra thank you to our major Patreon sponsor, Jason Leathers. He goes by I4MSU on Twitter. He's definitely a big supporter of the broadcast, and many, many thanks to him for everything. And if you liked the broadcast today or liked all of our other broadcasts, please feel free to go out to our Patreon site and become one of our patrons. We definitely could always use the help to make this broadcast bigger and better, and so that way we can keep talking to folks like Dustin on the broadcast. And then for those of you who are a little gun-shy about doing Patreon because it is that monthly donation, we also are doing our Scicomm Monday GoFundMe fall drive, so you can go to GoFundMe at Scicomm Monday Fall 2017 to help out there. And then if you're a scientist or Scicomer out there and you really want to come on the broadcast, we'd love to have you. We've had so many different people from all over the world be on the broadcast, and so we'd really love to have you on. So direct message us to schedule a time when you can come on the broadcast. And then with that, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone for tuning in today. If you're watching this on replay, send in your questions via Twitter, and we'll definitely try to answer them afterwards. So until then, everyone, go out, have some fun, do some science, and we're going to see you on the next Scicomm Monday.
Okay, Instagram friends. So listen, we just finished the Periscope on Twitter. This is the most meta internet thing I've ever done. So I asked you guys to give me any of your favorite dinosaurs and make what other comments you might. So I have a couple minutes, so we're going to go through these. I'm excited to see and hear what your favorite dinos are. Here we go. So, Pazuzu and Jaws. I've been a Parasaurolophus fan since I was 6. Hell yeah. You should always be a Parasaurolophus fan. Are there better fossil detection techs available now, or is it still mainly luck and digging? It's slightly better, but it's still now mainly